If you've been following the channel, you will have known that I've had ongoing issues with my Jeep Wrangler going into limp home mode or throwing codes. 0344, 0340, cam, crankshaft sensors, or circuit issues. That's what you'd think. I've solved it, I know I've solved it, and it's nothing like that, it's mechanical. So stay tuned. Hi guys, my name's Daryl and welcome to the channel. That's right, I've fixed it. I've had an ongoing issue in this where it's been hitting, going into limp home mode, it's been throwing 0344 codes, and lately, the last month or two, 0340 codes. 0344 codes are crank or camshaft sensors. 0340 codes are a problem within that circuit. So basically you've got a crank sensor and a camshaft sensor that look for each other and go, oh yes, you're there, or oh, you're a little bit further away than what I thought you'd be, and the ECU alters the timing to suit. That's the base of the matter, but what's been causing this looked like electrical, but in the end it wasn't. So let's just have a bit of a deep dive into what's happened, the things that I've done over the time to fix it that haven't, and in the end what's turned out to fix it completely, because it's to the point where it's like I have all my faith back in this thing again, and last weekend we did a fairly long trip in it, no problems whatsoever. Now originally when this happened, and this has probably been going on for 20 to 30,000 Ks. My TJ, it's a 4 litre straight 6, it now has 230,000 kilometres on it. So it's probably started around the 200,000 kilometre mark. Originally it was just a check engine light. Every now and then you'd get a check engine light. The one thing that's been common with all of this is it seems to be when you're off the gas and come back on it again. So if you're sitting at a set of lights, just idling, and it seems to be the longer it idles, the more chance you have of it happening. Idling probably hasn't been absolutely perfect when this happens. You seem to always get a little misfire or the like. You'll pull off from the lights and bang, at 2,500 RPM you're in limp home mode with the engine light on. It also happens, I've had it when towing, and I've had it when you come down a hill on a freeway, off the gas, get back on the gas, and the same thing will happen. The workaround I've had for all of this, as I said, was I'd just turn the ignition off, turn it back on again, and you'd just continue on as if nothing had happened. And that, the only ongoing thing would be the engine light would be on. And maybe after 50 or 100 Ks the engine light would go off by itself and you'd be fine until such time as it happened again. So it's been very, very frustrating. Now up until now I've done basically what a lot of other guys have done on forums and Facebook and the internet in general. I've replaced the crankshaft sensor, the camshaft sensor. I've replaced both of those numerous times with different versions. Doesn't seem to make much of a difference. I've gone through the loom. I've pulled the loom apart all the way down that side of the block. I've pulled it apart on different places thinking, you know, is there an issue here? And you'd think, oh yes, I've found a little issue here where the wire, the insulation may be stuck together on a couple of wires. You tape it all back up again. You think it's gone away for a little while, but in reality it's probably just lurking in the background. The issue where I thought I'd fixed it, the last video that I made on this subject, I'll link to it up here, was where the speedo correction thing, it connects down near the end of the transfer case. When I wiggled the connection around, I was getting a slight miss and it would throw an engine code. So I've taken the speedo box away and put in a gear tooth with the right tooth count for my tyre size, which is 32 inches. So at the moment, Speedo box isn't in play, although I do have a slip yoke eliminator kit, and that's got an electronic sensor on it, so I would have to run something like the Speedo box again. Anyway, that's a sideshow. I really don't think at this point, yes, there was probably an issue with that, and yes, it could have been causing these issues, but it's not the underlying principle of what's been causing these to get worse over 20 or 30,000 k. So what have I done to fix all this up? Well, I've put a new timing chain kit in it, and it's all fixed. I can't believe the change that it's made. Why did I go down the timing chain route? I've done everything else. I've gone through the whole electrical system. I've chatted to the guys, Wrangler fix up the automatic ECUs. They occasionally see a manual ECU come through, but he said, look, the issues you're having aren't ECU related. We've never seen this before. So that sort of took that out of the picture, because it was getting to the point where it's like, well, it must be a dud ECU. I was driving along one day, thinking about this, as I do, because it had probably just happened again, and it was starting to ping, and I was just driving along a suburban street in 5th or 6th, you know, at the speed limit, and it's like, this thing shouldn't be pinging at this, and it was like, I wonder if it's got a stretched timing chain. So I purchased the parts, and again, through Rock Auto, these parts are so cheap. The timing chain and component kit was $74.34. Now that includes brand new chain, brand new both cogs, there's large and small, and the timing chain adjustment bush, which is just a hard plastic bush that sits into a slot in the timing chain casing. They're not ship prices, but I bought a whole heap of stuff through Rock Auto that day. And I got an $11.89 discount, because when you buy some stuff, they'll send you a 5% discount code off the next day. International shipping was $96 Australian. My total cost was $354. But in that order, I also had radiator cap, air intake charge, temperature sensor, temperature sender, thermostat housing, timing chain and component kit, radiator fan clutch, thermostat housing, water output seal, timing cover gasket, and air intake charge temperature sensor. Whole heap of stuff for $350. Like, this thing is so cheap to keep on the road, and I keep saying it. It just blows my mind every time. But anyway, and what I should have done in hindsight, someone sent me a message on YouTube with regards to the harmonic balancer, and it was like, at the same time, do the timing chain. Because at that point I was really regretting that I didn't, because it all has to come out to do the timing chain. The timing chain is, in reality, probably a 10-minute job, but to do it, it's drain the radiator, take the radiator out, take off the fan clutch. You're basically doing a water pump, so you're tearing it down to water pump level. You've got to pull the pulley off the front of the water pump. You've got to take the adjuster for the fan belt off. You have to pull off the harmonic balancer. So I'm quite good at doing it now, but you do have to do that. So if you're replacing harmonic balancer, replace this damn thing too. And once you get the harmonic balancer off, you just take the front of the cover off the timing chain. Loose. You're going to have to put new gaskets. There's a gasket around it, and there's a gasket where the crankshaft comes through it. If you buy the Felpro kit, it provides both of those gaskets. Then you've got to put the bolt back in for the crankshaft, turn it around so that both marks on the timing chain cogs line up. That's important. Take the bolt back out, but don't alter where those marks are. And basically you can just undo the bolt on the large cog for the timing chain. On mine, and I've noticed, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos with regards to this, there seems to be some differences in timing chain and what they have in them and how they come apart. In reality they're all the same, but I notice on a lot they'll take the bolt out for the large cog and then slide off both the small and large cog. On mine, I'd have to use a puller to get the small cog off, so I didn't worry about replacing it, even though it was in the kit. So I've replaced the large cog, the timing chain, and then put new gaskets on it. It's taken me about 4 to 5 hours to do the whole job. And that was stopping for lunch and everything like that. Once you get that done, retime it with your oil pump drive assembly if you've got an 0506. With mine, I took it for a drive. I didn't reset the codes on purpose because I wanted to see what would happen. When I first took it for a drive, there was no engine warning light on the dash. However, it was only a very short drive. It wasn't going into limp home mode, but at a certain point that light did come back on, which annoyed me a lot. The 0344 and 0340 codes were there, but there was also a 0016 code. That code means it's not all in timing. So I retimed it all, and from then on, perfect. So you can see that the timing was out because I had to retime the oil pump drive assembly. Now to retime the oil pump drive assembly on this, piston number 1, top dead center, so pull out number 1 spark plug, make sure the pistons come to the top of its travel, and there's a mark on your harmonic balancer that should align with a mark on the engine block casing. So you know you're at top dead center then. And then the oil pump drive assembly on the 0506, there's a pin that goes through the trigger wheel inside it. And if you buy a new oil pump drive assembly, it will have that pin in. But basically, pin the trigger wheel to the casing on the oil pump drive assembly, put it in so that the sensor on the outside of the oil pump drive assembly is at the 4 o'clock position, and you basically should have it. But make sure when you push the oil pump drive assembly in that it goes all the way in so it seats. A lot of the time you'll put it in and it's like, oh, that's okay, and you look down and it hasn't seated against the block. So it's imperative that it does. But once I did that, I didn't reset the codes again. I just drove it. All the codes went away. This is now running as if it's a new vehicle. Idle is absolutely spot on. It doesn't move. If I idle it for 10 minutes, I might get a very slight stutter every now and then. But most of the 99% of the time, the idle is just sitting there absolutely rock solid, is where it should be. The engine is quieter. The engine feels tighter. But since this has happened, I've done everything I can to get it to falter again. We went on a long trip in it last weekend, which is the first time we've done that in months. I've put half a ton of sand into our box trailer and, you know, lugged it up really steep hills from a standing start to try and induce some issue. It's been heavy city traffic, you know, freeway conditions. I've done everything I can to induce these issues, and it would have induced them prior to this, and I can't for the life of me make it happen. I've also been running it on 91 instead of 95 or 98 petrol, and to see if I've got any pinging. All the pinging's gone away. So that just tells you that I did have some issues in that respect. What's the conclusion? I think if you've got around the 200,000 kilometre mark on these things, replace your harmonic balancer, replace your timing chain while you're in there, and you should be sweet. If you're having ongoing engine warning light issues and they're the codes you're throwing up, it could well be your timing chain, because it appears as though it was mine. It's just been so frustrating because we wanted to go on a trip in this next year. We're hoping to go to Tasmania and take the camper, and I was looking at it thinking, I don't know if I can trust it, although it's never let us down. Like, with all this happening, like, the worst that would happen, it would throw an engine code, go into limp home mode, I'd turn the ignition off, turn it back on again, and off we'd go. The only thing that could have let it down is the harmonic balancer going, and now that's fixed. Well, happy days. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. I hope that helps someone, because it's been a very frustrating experience for me. But that's the mystery solved. So that's it for today. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.